My name is Alina. They say your wedding day is supposed to be the happiest day of your life. But last month, my so-called best friend, Jessica, taught me exactly how a wedding can be weaponized to destroy someone else's life. I run my own marketing firm here in Chicago. I worked 80-hour weeks for years to buy my dream apartment, a penthouse with a view of the skyline. It was supposed to be my sanctuary, my safe space. But when I came home from a 3-day business trip last Friday, I walked in to find that my home wasn't mine anymore. Standing in the middle of my living room were about 50 people. There was a jazz playlist blasting. Waiters, actual hired waiters, were passing around champagne. And there, standing on my white Italian sofa, the one I have a strict no red wine rule for, was Jessica. She was standing next to her fiancé, Mark, holding a glass of Merlot. They were making a toast in front of my gallery wall. But when I looked closer, my stomach dropped. My paintings, the ones my mother painted before she passed away, were gone. They weren't on the wall. I looked down and saw them piled up in a corner on the floor, like trash. In their place hung a massive, tacky vinyl banner that read, "Jessica and Mark Forever." I dropped my suitcase. The sound made the music stop. Everyone turned to look at me. Jessica, who was wearing a silk dress that I instantly recognized as missing from my closet, ran over to me. She didn't look ashamed. She didn't look scared. She hugged me and squealed, "Alina! Oh my God, you're just in time. The engagement party just started." She didn't ask me. She didn't warn me. She had literally hijacked my home. When I pushed her off and asked about my mother's paintings, which were bent against the baseboard, she just rolled her eyes and laughed. "Relax, Allie. They're just old pictures. We needed a clean wall for the photo booth. Why are you overreacting? This is my big day." Overreacting? In that moment, something inside me snapped. I didn't scream. I didn't call the cops. Not yet. I just smiled, grabbed a drink from a waiter, and walked into my bedroom. Because I realized right then, Jessica wanted a party, so I was going to give her a party she would never, ever forget. To understand how we got here, you have to understand Jessica. We were college roommates. She was always the victim. She was the girl who always had bad luck, bad boyfriends, and empty pockets. And me? I was the fixer. I was the mom of the group. 6 months ago, Jessica showed up at my door in tears. "My boyfriend kicked me out, Allie. I have nowhere to go. Can I just crash in your guest room for a few days?" I said yes. Of course I did. She was my best friend. A few days turned into a month, then 2, then 6. She never offered a dime for rent. She never bought groceries. In fact, my grocery bill doubled because she insisted on eating organic, but only if I paid for it. She started using my expensive shampoo, my skincare, and eventually, my clothes. It started small. "Hey, I borrowed that scarf." Then it got bolder. "Allie, can I take your car? I have a job interview." Spoiler alert. It wasn't an interview. It was a date. Then she met Mark. Mark is an investment banker, rich, uptight, and very obsessed with status. Suddenly, Jessica's lifestyle changed. She was going out to 5-star dinners, wearing designer heels men, and acting like she owned the world, but she still wasn't paying rent. And the worst part? She told Mark that the penthouse was ours, as in, we were co-owners, roommates who split the mortgage. She lied to him because she knew a guy like Mark wouldn't marry someone sleeping on her friend's couch for free. When I confronted her about it, she gave me the puppy dog eyes. "Alina, please. Mark is so judgmental. If he finds out I'm broke, he'll dump me. Just play along until the wedding. Once we're married, I'll move into his place." I was an idiot. I said yes. I agreed to be a guest in my own home just to protect her lie. After the engagement party incident, things spiraled. Jessica decided that since I hadn't kicked her out, she was untouchable. My apartment became her wedding headquarters. Every single day, florists, caterers, and planners were buzzing in and out. My home office became her bridal suite. I couldn't even take a Zoom call without hearing her scream at a cake decorator in the kitchen. But the final straw, the thing that actually broke me, was the mail. I have an emergency credit card. It has a high limit, but I rarely use it. I keep it tucked away in a drawer in my office. Last Tuesday, I opened my statement. I nearly fainted. The balance was over $15,000. I scanned the charges. A custom designer wedding dress, $5,000. A venue deposit, $4,000. 2 first-class tickets to Bali, $6,000. She stole my card. I marched into the living room and threw the statement at her. She didn't even deny it. She just started crying immediately. Alina, you're rich. What does it matter to you? I couldn't let Mark know I couldn't afford the deposit. I promise. I'll pay you back with the cash gifts we get at the wedding. We're sisters, remember? Sisters. She used that word like a shield. She thought it gave her immunity. I looked at her, wiped the tears off her face, and said, "Okay, Jess, you're right. Let's just focus on the wedding." Her face lit up. She hugged me, thinking she had won. She thought I was the same old pushover Alina. But that night, I didn't go to sleep. I called my lawyer. Then, I did a little digging on Facebook and found Mark's ex-girlfriend, the one Jessica hated. We had a very interesting conversation. And then, I started planning my contribution to her wedding festivities. The wedding was 1 week away. Jessica decided to host her bridal shower at my place. Obviously. The guest list was elite. Mark's mother was there, a very intimidating woman who wears Chanel suits and judges everyone. Mark's sisters were there. Jessica's high society friends were there. Jessica was floating around the room like a queen, showing off her view and her kitchen, acting like this multi-million-dollar property was proof of her success. I stood in the corner, holding a glass of champagne, just watching. Jessica grabbed the microphone for a speech. "I just want to thank my best friend Alina," she said, gesturing to me condescendingly. "She's been staying here with me while she looks for her own place, and she's been such a big help." Staying with her? In my house. That was the signal. I walked over and tapped my spoon against my glass. Clink, clink, clink. "Can I say a few words?" I asked, smiling brightly. Jessica looked nervous, but she couldn't say no in front of Mark's mom. She handed me the mic. To Jessica and Mark, I began, looking around the room. True love is built on honesty, and I don't think anyone here knows just how honest Jessica has been. I reached into my blazer pocket and pulled out a large manila envelope. "Actually, I have a surprise gift for the bride and groom." I walked over and handed the envelope directly to Mark's mother. "What is this?" she asked, looking down her nose at me. "That," I said, my voice steady and loud, "is a formal eviction notice." The room went dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. "Jessica has 30 days to vacate the premises," I continued. "Because, unfortunately for Mark, Jessica doesn't own this penthouse. She isn't on the deed. She isn't on the lease. She is essentially a squatter who hasn't paid a dime of rent in 6 months." Jessica's face went ghost white. "Alina, this isn't funny. Stop it." "Oh, I'm not done," I said, pulling out a second piece of paper. "And this? This is a police report for grand larceny and credit card fraud." I turned to look at Mark, who had just walked in. "Mark, I'm sorry you have to find out this way, but those first-class honeymoon tickets to Bali, the ones Jessica said she bought with her bonus, they were bought with my stolen credit card. I canceled them this morning. Oh, and the dress she's wearing right now? That was purchased with stolen funds, too. The police are on their way to collect it as evidence." The whispers started instantly. It sounded like a beehive in there. Mark, whose reputation meant everything to him, looked at Jessica with pure horror. "Is this true?" he asked, his voice shaking. "Do you not own this place? Did you steal the card?" Jessica burst into hysterical tears. "She's lying. She's jealous. She's always been jealous because I'm getting married and she's alone. Mark, baby, listen to me." Ding dong. The doorbell rang. I walked over and opened it. 2 uniformed police officers were standing there. "We're looking for a Miss Jessica Davis," one of them asked. "We have a report regarding unauthorized use of a credit card totaling $15,000. I turned back to the party, looked Jessica dead in the eye, and shrugged. "I told you, Jess. I wanted to give you a party you'd never forget." They escorted Jessica out of my apartment in handcuffs. Not exactly the bridal exit she was planning. Mark's mother demanded the engagement ring back right there in my living room. It was brutal. Mark walked out without even looking back at her. The wedding was called off before the police car even left the curb. My apartment was finally quiet. Just me, some half-eaten cake, and 50 empty champagne glasses. The next day, my phone blew up. Jessica's parents called me screaming. "You ruined her life. You called the cops on your best friend? You could have just asked for the money back." I replied calmly, "I did ask." She looked me in the face, called me sister, and then robbed me. "I didn't ruin her life, Auntie. I just handed her the bill for her own actions." Jessica got probation because it was a first offense, but the court ordered her to pay me back every single cent. Mark dumped her not just because of the money, but because he realized her entire identity was a fabrication. She lied about the house, her job, her degree, everything. I got my house back. I repainted the walls where that tacky banner had been hanging. I changed the locks to a high-tech security system, and I hung my mother's paintings back where they belonged. People tell women that we should be forgiving, that we should be the bigger person, but I learned something important that day. When a friend mistakes your kindness for weakness, showing them the door isn't cruelty, it's justice. Today, I'm sitting in my clean, quiet living room. No drama, no freeloaders, and my credit score is safe. Sometimes, to find your peace, you have to be a little bit ruthless. And honestly, I don't regret a thing.